and effluent from the sewerage system in the estates in Mombasa owned by National Housing Corporation in Changamwe constituencies, how they are actually addressed. Could the chairperson clarify whether the National Environmental Management Authority, NEMA, has developed regulations on the management of toxic and hazardous sewerage flow from the broken sewage system and how they are implemented? Could the chairperson explain what action has been taken against National Housing Corporation for poor management of the estate, constant harassment of residents living in the estate, including threats of evicting them from their homes, sexual harassment, corruption allegations, rental dispute arrears and harmonization, access to purchase houses, ongoing projects with no approvals, thefts and injuries, security lights, social amenities, and lack of public engagement, especially participation by the community? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Omar Mwinyi. I'll refer this to the Departmental Committee on Housing, Urban Planning and Public Works. Is the chairman in the House, Honorable Johanna Ngeno? In the absence of the Honorable Johanna Ngeno, the Majority Leader, Honorable Owen Baya, on behalf of Majority Leader.
I would like to undertake that we will provide within 21 days a comprehensive response. Taking cognizance that the House will rise for recess tomorrow, then probably we'll report when the House reconvenes in the other week. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I can see the Honorable Omar Mwinyi, you are on your feet. You are not satisfied with the 3 weeks given by the Honorable Baya?
The unbearable conditions that my people are facing cannot wait for 21 days. I would actually prefer 2 weeks at most. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Baya?
Honorable Speaker, I am very happy to request the Honorable Johanna Ngeno to actually report in the next 2 weeks. I'm very happy to 14 days. But I'm also taking cognizance of the fact that members are going on recess. Yes, so 10 days is 2 weeks. And within that period, to convene members to see it, to do, I would like even to request the committee to come over, to come and see what you're talking about, so that they have a comprehensive report. I wouldn't like them to just bring a report for the sake of a report, but a more practical report. So what I'm requesting for 21 days is a very practical way of handling your situation. So I request you, I know the people of Mombasa are suffering, and I empathize with them. But also, I would like them to get a practical solution to the problem, and 21 days is very, very practical. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Omar Mwinyi, then based on what the Honorable Baya said on behalf of the Leader of Majority, and also bearing in mind that the Honorable Johanna Ngeno is not in the House, I would like to request you to take the 21 days as has been proposed by the Honorable Baya. Okay, you may.
Madam Speaker, I want this House to be aware that the whole Committee on Housing was there in Changamwe, including the former CS lands, and they saw all these things. So they do not need any 21 days. 10 days are just enough. The whole committee led by Johanna Ngeno, the CS lands, the then CS lands, Honorable Njeru was there. So 10 days are just enough for this thing to be addressed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Because, to make progress, and based on the information that the Honorable Omar Mwinyi has just given, that the committee visited, then these will be done in 14 days. So please communicate that to the chair. Honorable members, yesterday, the Speaker made a ruling that Chair on Education issues a statement regarding management of examinations. And I've seen that the Chair Education has been patiently waiting to make this statement, so I give you an opportunity to do so.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank you, and I arise to make a statement which actually arose as a result of a question asked by Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Mbui, Minority Leader, Honorable Mbui, and the concerns raised by members. And actually, I want to say that the concerns are actually right. They were actually good. It is a show of concern that as a leadership, we take a lot of interest in the performance of our students or our children in constituencies, and more specifically, the running of examinations during this exam period. Madam Speaker, following the direction given by the Speaker, my committee actually communicated the same to the CS Minister of Education.
Honorable Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I note that the Honorable Minority,
yes,
Deputy Minority
yes,
Leader is not in the House.
Yeah, so you can't respond. You wait until.
So I wait? Yes.
Since it's property of the House, when the question was asked, yes, it became property of the House.
Yes.
I would like to allow you to continue, but it is very important then when a member asks, especially for a statement, ensures
he's in the House,
that he or she is in the House. You may proceed for the benefit of others.
Yes. Madam Speaker, I want to say that as much as the Minority Leader is not in the House, the issue at hand raised a lot of interest among members across the aisles of the House. So as directed by the Speaker, the committee communicated to the CS Education, Honorable Machogu, and I asked that he gives us a very detailed statement on the status of the preparedness of the ministry in regards to the various examinations they are going to undertake this year. Honorable Speaker, apart from that, they also gave a statement on the status of the JSS, the progress in the JSS schools across the country in regards to infrastructure, in regards to teachers, and in regards to teaching learning materials. Honorable Speaker, in that regard, the statement I have before you is quite long, it's quite lengthy, it has a lot of information, and I would wish that the members, I know it will take a lot of time, and I want to say that it will actually answer a number of issues raised by members, and I know members will ventilate on it, and we shall discuss this, and this is actually very good. Madam Speaker, you will allow me to go through the statement that this brief provides the state of preparedness in relation to the forthcoming national examinations and assessments. These are the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment, Kpsea, the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, Kcpe, the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, Kcse, and the Kenya Intermediate Level Education Assessment for learners with special needs. The brief also provides a status update on the implementation of the competency-based curriculum, including and not limited to infrastructure, textbook distribution, and teachers in those particular schools. On examination preparedness, Madam Speaker, it is noted that the Ministry of Education, through the Kenya National Examination Council, NEC, is committed to delivering quality assessment in line with its mandate. To achieve this, regular reviews have been done to ensure that all the necessary prerequisite measures are in place so that to guarantee effective conduct of the 2023 national examinations and assessments. Madam Speaker, on the issue of timetable, the Honorable CS has indicated that the Kenya National Examination Council issued several timetables to alert examiners, to alert candidates and the teachers and the parents that the exams will be done this year. The candidates, the timetable is on this table 1, and it has indicated that the exam for Kpsea is starting on 30th to 1st of November 2023. That is, Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, Kenya Primary School Education Assessment is done between 30th and 1st of November. 2, Kcse will run 30th October to 1st November. Yes. Kcse practicals and optional papers, they are starting on Thursday 19. They started on Thursday 19 October 2023. It will also run all the way to, there will be exams on 23rd October to 3rd November. We will also have Kcse theory. It will run from 1st November to 24th November. That is in brief the timetable. It doesn't give a lot of details. On the candidature of students, Madam Speaker, it is indicated that we have given a big list on the increments of students. The total number of students in Kcse this year is, the total candidature is 905. Kcpe, the figure is there, it's a lot. But the total candidature, Madam Speaker, for 2023 candidates is 3 million. That is for Kpsea, for Kcpe, and for Kcse and others. It is 3,606,972,000. This is an increase of 8.6% from the previous exam. Why the candidature and why this is actually for members to note.
Honorable Meli.
Yes.
Chair, I noticed that you have quite a big document.
Yes, it's a big document.
Is it possible for you to summarize and then you table it so that other people who want to go through all the details can go through? If you can just highlight the issues as raised in the statement, and then you bring it to the table so that whoever wants to read all the details then can pick from there, including the Deputy Leader of Minority.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Well guided. I will actually summarize. But the issue is actually very, very important for members to understand, because I'll be skimming through some of the issues. I will not be going to the details, but I wanted to pinpoint some of the pertinent areas which members had a lot of concern. Madam Speaker, when you look at identification and distribution of centers or containers and the mapping of examination centers, this was actually something that was quite raised here. And it's an issue that is, I want to really emphasize, is that the Ministry of Education and NEC have been working on the strategies to eliminate early exposure. Madam Speaker, early exposure of the second session of examination paper. One of the key strategies to implement with effect from 2023 is the collection of examination papers twice a day for Kcse examination. This will ensure that no candidate has access to examination prior to the set time. Madam Speaker, this is actually the reason why the ministry actually went ahead and introduced the collection of examination committee. We found out that most exam cheating and malpractices takes place on the second paper, because this paper goes to the school early, it gets exposed early, and that is why that is the real issue. And I think the ministry is trying to treat that particular malpractice. On the same note, therefore, to allay the fears raised by the honorable members, the ministry said that to this end, stakeholders engagement forums on mapping of examination centers were convened as follows. I don't want to go into the details, but I want to note that to consolidate meetings, I want to go to the area where the examination council increased. Madam Speaker, the examination council actually went ahead and increased the number of containers from 482 to 506. This is to ensure that not every sub-county now, I think we have about 290 constituencies, but the number of examination containers were increased from that number to increase so that schools can have easy access to the picking point. Madam Speaker, you remember that before 2016, police stations used to be the centers of collecting exams. But it was realized that it was from those police centers that exams were leaked and a lot of malpractices took place. During the Matiang'i reforms, it was decided that all exams be stored in containers where the sub-county director of education has a different key, and then the deputy county commissioner or assistant county commissioner has another key, so that no one can access the container because of the double locking system. Madam Speaker,
what is out of order, Honorable Timothy Toroitich, Marakwet West? Is anything out of order?
None.
So you may withdraw your intervention.
Yes.
Please proceed, Chairman.
Yes. Madam Speaker, following the various engagements, NEC mapped out all examination centers to the nearest distribution center to avoid delays at the start of the second examination session. During mapping or alignment of Kpsea, Kcse, and Kcpe examination centers was categorized as follows. That is now the categorization to avoid lateness. And Madam Speaker, papers have been reduced to 2. It will be done in the morning and in the afternoon when the other one has been redone. The alignment is as follows.
What is out of order, Honorable Mary Emasi?
Madam Speaker, one of my sub-counties does not have a container. They are collecting exams from the neighboring sub-county, which is Kcse Central. Kcse South does not have an exam container. And I've gone up to the ministry, and nothing has been done. So, Honorable Chair, that is out of order to say that all the sub-counties have containers. That should be addressed.
Well, I would have asked you to wait until he finishes. Maybe it is among the ones that you will read last. So, Honorable Chair, you may want, if it is not there, then you may need to respond to the Honorable Member for Kcse.
Kindly, Madam Speaker.
Please finalize.
Madam Speaker, you know the document is quite huge, and I want to tell the Honorable Member for Kcse South, because she has, I want to say that she has a lot of information about our sub-county, but there are new containers that have been moved across. Let her wait, and then she will actually ask the question after. And this statement, Madam Speaker, is a statement from the CS. You will actually interrogate it after I've laid it on the floor so that you can actually ask questions. Madam Speaker, on the alignment of examination centers to distribution centers that are nearer and within their sub-counties. That is one. Number 2, alignment of examination centers to distribution points and within their sub-counties, but within their county. In this category, the key consideration was security, terrain, and distance. Madam Speaker, counties where examination centers were realigned due to security-related issues include West Pokot, Elgeyo Marakwet, Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. In Soy sub-county, some centers were realigned to Tarbo and Moiben because of the distance and the terrain. Only centers that were over 20 kilometers from the current container were realigned. The other issue is alignment of examination centers to distribution points that are nearer but not within their counties. The other one is installation of new distribution centers or containers, a total of 82 additional containers for new sub-counties and issues of terrain, distance, and security. Madam Speaker, the other issue that was also raised, and we have the list here among the members. I'll not go through it. I will actually table it so that members will check on it. The other issue that was also raised was the preparation of facilities for storage of 2023 national examination materials. Madam Speaker, this one is actually very detailed to show that how the exams move all the way from the printing, all the way to the national warehouse in Nairobi, to the regional distribution centers, and all the way to the sub-counties, and all the way to the containers within the various sub-counties, and even within the various divisions. So this one is quite enumerated. It is very clear, and it has actually shown that they have increased the distribution centers from actually 5 to 576. So they have increased this year by almost 82 new containers. Madam Speaker, the provision of containers in some of the sub-counties was based on the following. The new areas, that one, creation of new sub-counties that have been gazetted, geographical vastness. 3, rugged terrain, that is hilly and mountainous and vast areas. 4, potential above average rains. You know, this is the time when we have rains during this particular region. It also showed that areas with a lot of rains and accessibility also actually were considered when giving out the containers. Madam Speaker, I want to note, and I wish that you allow me to read on this. Examinations for Kabedo, South, Hor, Baragoi are airlifted from Nairobi directly into the respective containers due to the security concerns anticipated. From the container, the schools served are within reasonable distance and do not need further airlift. For example, Kabedo Secondary School is 1.2 kilometers away from the nearest container. The examination papers for Chalbi, North Hor, and Wajir North are transported by road to Marsabit and then airlifted from there to individual containers, also due to anticipated insecurity issues in Marsabit. The containers installed are reasonable distance from the schools. Madam Speaker, it is also noted that the examination papers for the whole of Wajir North, Wajir County, are lifted first by the fixed-wing aircraft to Wajir Airport, Elwak Airstrip, then are lifted by helicopters to Div, Korov, Karar, Kitulo, and Benane, and also to account and on account of anticipated security challenges on the ground. Madam Speaker, also, finally, the examination papers for the whole of Mandera County are flown into Mandera and Takaba airstrips, and then are lifted by helicopters onto the Lafay, Ramu, Banisa, and Akaba containers, also as mitigation against anticipated security challenges in those particular areas. Madam Speaker, the examination papers for lower stretches of Garissa County are transported by road up to Garissa town, and then they are lifted to the containers of Ulugo, Bado, Gamagia, and Fafi, which are adequate for the schools to collect in the area. Madam Speaker, the dispatch of materials. Madam Speaker, in order to mitigate the challenges experienced in a county, the sub-county directors of education have been key in identifying and bringing to the attention of NEC those counties with whose challenges and NEC has ensured the installation of extra containers in areas where delivery of examinations posed a great challenge. Madam Speaker, on dispatch of materials, I just want to highlight that the dispatch of the 2023 Kpsea Kcse materials are concluded on 15th of October 2023, and also included the dispatch for the orals and oral material for Kcse. The deployment of field officers to be involved in field administration of national examinations. This is quite important for members to note that yesterday it was alleged that it is the head teachers who are in charge of exams. Yes, they are center managers, but the supervisors and the invigilators are the authorized Kenya National Examination officers who are in charge of those particular centers. But the administration of the center is actually by the head teacher. Madam Speaker, I also want to note that the deployment we have statistics here showing the category of supervisors. We have 19,000 for Kcpe, 10,000 for Kcse, 1,477, and the total number of supervisors is 30,000. All these are actually staff for the administration of the exam. So members, I think that one is well, and you'll actually check in the document. On the other issue, Madam Speaker, NEC has engaged with the Teacher Service Commission, especially on the other personnel. We have security. I want to list the number of personnel involved in this, Madam Speaker, for members to note. We have supervisors, we have invigilators, we have center managers who are actually principals and head teachers of schools. We also have, the total number of teachers are 294,983 who will man these exams. On security officers, we have almost 57,000 police officers. We have drivers, 7,029. We also have sub-county directors of education, deputy or assistant county commissioners, all the way to county police commanders, sub-county police commanders, TSC county directors, regional police commanders, and all those particular officers. It will be actually a multi-agency team running the examinations. Madam Speaker, the other issue that I also want to bring the attention of members is briefing and sensitization of field officers, which is actually a routine in exams across the country. Having been a teacher myself, this is actually something that is done every other time from the national level, the regional level, to the sub-county, and all the way to the zonal level. This has been done, and it was done beginning on 2nd to 6th October. All the briefs were undertaken. Monitoring to ensure smooth administration of quality assurance, and I think these are actually officers who move across schools, counties, sub-counties, and even zonals to ensure that the examination process is done. And here we have a list and agencies engaged in the monitoring and monitoring of national examinations. The officers listed here are 1,765, what we call the roving officers. Roving officers, these are officers that move across to find out everything is moving well. Preparedness for marking of examinations. Madam Speaker, I also want to note that the examiners were trained. About 7,512 examiners were trained in 2023. And in this regard, the data for trained examiners and the rest of the examiners on database has been forwarded to Kcse for vetting and in readiness for the engagement. This was very important, especially during our report, Madam Speaker, which we lay on this House. We actually directed the Ministry of Education to ensure that every staff, every examiner has to be vetted on issues of morality, on issues of integrity, on issues of ethics, so that actually they give the right marks. And I want to thank them because they have done as directed by the committee. On marking of Kcpe and Kcse examinations, NEC will set 18 marking centers for Kcpe and increase the Kcse marking centers from 35 to 40 in 2023, so as to decongest the centers during the marking and also to cater for the increase in the number of examiners due to increased candidature. This was also an advice that we had, and I think this is very important because most of the centers were congested. Most of the examiners marked for long hours. They were strained. They were actually demoted. They had actually a lot of issues, and that's why the centers were increased. Challenges of the way they are going to handle what we call the challenge of the projected El Nino. I just want to note the Kenya National Examination Ministry have noted that there would be challenge in, they have spotted 11 areas which they might have flooding and hotspots. Heavy rains, they have also done that. So they have actually given the various areas of Nyakach, Nyando, we have Nzoia and other areas of Busia. Heavy continuous rainfall, they have also identified Lake Victoria Basin. They have also West Pokot, Vihiga and other areas. Flash floods in Turkana, Lodwar and other areas. Landslides in West Pokot, continuous rainfall above the long-term rainfall, Rift Valley, Nairobi and other areas. Occasional rainfall. The reason why they did it, Madam Speaker, is so that they could actually bring in emergency services like the helicopters, what do you call it, the planes and all these others, and also emergency vehicles. Lastly, on financials, this is where I think members raised, and it has been raised every other time. NEC actually needs, the ministry has requested 3.8 billion in supplementary budget, one for this year, being requested for, one, to cater for pending bills, that is forwarded in 2023-24, and settle the first charge with the financial year 2023. Number two, to meet the council's projected deficit of 2023 budget required so that they can pay examiners, administration officers, and all the rest. So that in brief is what is in the NEC, what is going on in the country. I just want to use a few minutes, Madam Speaker, to also give a status report on CBC, yes, as actually requested by the Honorable Deputy Majority Leader. Minority Leader. Madam Speaker, following the recommendation of the Presidential Working Party on education and reform on the first progress report of the December 2022, junior secondary schools were domiciled in primary schools. On basis of this recommendation, guidelines for the implementation of junior secondary schools were developed, and the guidelines were given to the Directorate of Quality Assurance and Standards, conducted an assessment of all primary schools to establish their suitability to host junior schools. In preparation for the transition, retooling of teachers, or actually capacity building of teachers, was done by the Teacher Service Commission in compliance with the transformative pedagogies.
Very kindly summarize that part for CBC.
Oh, yes, I will do that.
Table the document.
Yes, yes. So it was actually, they have actually retooled the teachers in capacity building. Another thing that actually guided the ministry in setting up the JSS was the distance between schools, the age of the learners, and even the availability of teachers. Number 2 is curriculum implementation. Madam Speaker, the government is implementing competence. I just want to say that they have actually supplied grade 7 books. Now they're in the process of supplying grade 8 textbooks and learning materials. Number of learning areas, as per the Presidential Working Party, they have reduced this, and they are now doing designs for lower primary, grade 1 to 3, PP1, PP2, upper primary, grades 4 to 6, junior school. They are now they have reduced the learning areas from 14 to 9. Madam Speaker, on senior school, the learning areas also have been reduced to 7, and the curriculum design for senior school will be finalized once the process for junior school is concluded. Lastly, on the issue of teachers, the government has employed 56,750 teachers in the past 1 year, and they have also moved qualified staff from the former primary schools to junior schools, because most of them are graduates, they have masters, and they have the ability to run those particular schools. Madam Speaker, also on financing of basic education, this is something that I want to bring to the attention of the House. In the first term of 2023, the Ministry of Education disbursed 9.3 billion, that is capitation, for schools, and they have actually given all the monies that they anticipate to disburse. However, in addition to that, Madam Speaker, special needs education schools have received 3.7 million during the first and the second term disbursement, and 1,354 learners in 119 public junior schools. Madam Speaker, to finalize, on infrastructure, the provision of adequate, appropriate, and safe infrastructure is paramount in provision of quality education. And they have actually given us how they are giving the money across through the capitation. And 2, we have noted that they have also captured where the Ministry of Education, Madam Speaker, which is very important, allow me to say that, have actually engaged in partnership, and I think with this House, last week, with the advice of our Committee of Education and in consultation with the Ministry, the 3.3 billion grant we tabled and divided amongst 290 constituencies in this House, where they are supposed to construct classes where the NGCDF, which will actually be the vehicle under which the money will come, will pay a shilling for the construction of the thousands of classrooms that is going on. Madam Speaker, the wisdom of bringing that money, and I think to this particular House, is to ensure that members no longer go and queue in the Ministry of Education requesting for infrastructure funds, but instead these funds are channeled to the various constituencies so that they can actually build these particular schools. There are so many detailed information here, Madam Speaker, on those particular issues of infrastructure, and I therefore, they have also given us the kind of books they have distributed and how they have reached those particular schools. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I table this at the floor of the House, at the table of the House as directed by the Speaker. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chairman Education, for that elaborate statement from the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Education. Honorable members, I see several interventions, and I would like to give a few on both sides. I'll start with the Honorable Ochem on my right, member for Ugunja.
Honorable, Madam Speaker, I'm a member for Ugenya, not Ugunja. Chairperson of the Education Committee, allow me to. The Honorable Chair, the Honorable Speaker, I belong to Ugenya, not to Ugunja. I just want that to be corrected on record, that I'm a member for Ugenya. Yes. Madam Speaker, I really want to thank the Chair.
That is not the Honorable David Ochen.
I just want to thank the Honorable Chair for a very elaborate statement, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when the Deputy Minister raised this matter, it is not for want of knowledge of what's going on. Madam Speaker, what you wanted, and I want to request Chair, who is my friend, is assurances. Because these things you've talked about, Mr. Chairperson, we've heard about them before. This continuum, we'll move some through the air, we have make arrangements. We had this during the Honorable Magoha's time. He was a very hard-faced man. We had all these things, but even then, we've had elections being stolen. We've had exams being stolen. So can we ensure that the human intervention in the process through which exams could be stolen is removed, Mr. Speaker. Number two is the last thing he's spoken about, the disbursements of money. We all know now that the ministry is not disbursing 100% of the money. The ministry is disbursing 55, sometimes if it goes to the highest, 70%. The schools are not getting 100% of the money. And this is something that I think chairperson should deal with. We should disburse monies on time and enough money. Number three is the books. Madam Speaker, the books are important. But again, if you just tell us that the ministry tells us the books have been given, if the books are given, some schools get books in second term. For children sitting exams in third term. Some schools get the books in August for exams being done in October, November. Mr. Speaker, so the issue is not whether these things are being done. The issue is a timeliness in which these things are being done. The issue is ensuring that we are not losing any part of the chain. Because every year, we get these assurances, Madam Speaker. But we don't end up with exams not being stolen. The last 2 years have been terrible. So we hope that chairperson who was giving this statement will ensure that the ministry, the minister, the peers concerned follows through and ensure that this year we don't have exams being stolen, Madam Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Ugenya. The Honorable Aden Dawood, Member for Wajir East. Honorable members, if you are making some clarifications, if you are seeking some clarifications, please make it a minute so that we can have several members doing so. Honorable Dawood.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to thank the chair of the Education Committee, and I want to confirm that a lot of the things he said about the hard-to-reach areas like my constituency is actually true. Those exams have been taken by helicopters to those centers, and I wish to thank the Ministry of Education for being prepared this time. The only issue is that from those hard-to-reach areas, while exams have been taken in good time and preparations have been made, unfortunately the students are not ready to take those exams because we don't even have teachers to teach them. One wonders why we spend all that money to take exams to all those areas, but will not post teachers to those areas. I want to urge this House, and I want to ask the chairman of the Education Committee to make sure that those schools are staffed so that students from those areas can take those exams and be at the same level with the other students from the rest of Kenya. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Hope you're taking notes. The Honorable Moses Ijendi, Member for Malava.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to also congratulate the chairperson for this report. I also belong to Education Committee Vice Chair. Madam Speaker, from where I'm sitting, I'm just wondering, when Honorable Ochieng of Ugenya is asking, he wants assurance from the chairperson about these exams, and we have this report actually from the Ministry of Education, which is actually assuring us. So for us, it's only to support, because at the end of the day, these exams must be done. If they fail, then the ministry will have failed, and this will be our confirmation that they have failed as an entity. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, you recall a chair also submitted a report on exam cheating. Madam Speaker, Education Committee went around the country collecting views on exam cheating, and what came out so clearly was cheating arising from early exposure. So this process of collecting exams, every exam, is arising from the report we had after going around and collecting views. Madam Speaker, Honorable Mbui concern was particularly distance. And from this report, if members will be careful reading it, the issue of distance has actually been covered. I also want to assure Honorable Mary Massey, it's not a must that you must have a container within your sub-county. For example, there are some schools whose exams will be collected from containers nearer their other sub-counties, like could be like 5 kilometers or 1 kilometer from their schools. Madam Speaker, the other issue that was raised by Honorable Mbui was the issue of cost of transport, because his fear was the ministry does not have enough funds. We want to assure Parliament that this committee actually pushed the budget committee that we allocated enough money, because one of the issues that was raised was the issue of cost by...
1 minute, Honorable Ijendi, yours is actually gone. Yours is gone, but you've made very good comments on behalf of your committee as the Vice Chair. Can I thank you and give an opportunity to the Honorable Barto, member for Moiben? Thank you very much, Vice Chair. 1 minute. And members of the committee, some of you are supporting the chair's position. If you could give that opportunity to a member who is not of your committee so that they can raise issues.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support the chair of Education Committee, where I'm also a member. And Madam Speaker, I want to allay the fears the members of Parliament might be having about the preparedness of the national examinations which are about to take off. Madam Speaker, since the beginning of this 13th Parliament, I think the main issues which we have been dealing with as a committee are issues to do with exams. We have visited several parts of Kenya. We have engaged the stakeholders, and I think the level of preparedness, Madam Speaker, is good. Madam Speaker, there is a saying which the devil is always in the design. Madam Speaker, it is upon us to be very vigilant so that if there is any anomaly, we raise it. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, I think the national examination process is watertight, but the devil is always in the design. Let's be vigilant. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Omboko Milemba, member for Emuhaya, 1 minute.
I must be very brief, Honorable Speaker. Number one, on capitation, which the Minister talked about, and the Honorable Chair should hear this, we are doing very badly because we are still at 46%, 53%, and others we are still at 19 and 18, whether it is tuition operation and operation as per the circular that was released last. That is certainly going to affect the practicals, which we talked about yesterday. But let me congratulate the Chair, because this statement actually brings an assurance of many issues, especially the distance which we feared yesterday. On the issue of the examiners, I want to ask this Parliament, as the supplementary comes, to actually support that 3.8 billion to the Kenya National Examination Council. Because with this, then it's an assurance, if we give them this money, that the examiners for the first time should be paid at the right time. Because all that staff, Speaker, whom you had, 290,000 teachers, are never paid. This year, they were paid after 1 year. So I want to ask this House to support the 3.8 billion, which is in the supplementary budget, and let it be prioritized for payment of the teachers. Let me say on the issue of supervisors, the Ministry and the Teacher Service Commission should actually factor in the issue of transportation and allowances for the teachers who will be moving to and fro twice a day for all those number of days. I think that should be taken by the Chair and is important. I'm very brief, Speaker. And finally, on the issue of the space and the places where exams are marked, that is where the problem is, because there has been a congestion. I want to congratulate them. They have increased the number of centers. But at the same time, let them increase the payment to every script for the teachers who are marking. We shall be home and dry. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Susan Kiamba, member for Makueni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would also wish to put my voice to this concern. And my major concern is, while I congratulate the Chair for that very elaborate input on preparedness, I found it very difficult to see the significant difference that has actually been put forth to ensure that we don't have cheating as we had in last time. Because the only difference I saw was mainly in increased centers. And then secondly, with a capitation of 26%, anybody who has been in the schools of late, like me, knows the head teachers and administrators are training extensively with the very basic logistics. And I think if we are expecting the exams to be done in the manner we want them to be done, it is important to to understand that the learning environment that is taken care by the capitation is very low and very weak, with some desks running all over and environment of the school quite wanting. The third point I would want to put across, when Honorable Bai asked this question, it was about the centers and the issue of collecting exams twice, the morning session and the afternoon session. And the concern was, if I heard them properly, was, does in the collecting twice even increase chances of cheating? I do not understand. How is picking the exam twice reducing the chances of cheating of the exams? Because to me, I think that could actually be very manipulative. When we have people picking the exams twice, it actually gives them an opportunity to collude. And mainly so, when we have examiners who have not been paid for years, what will stop them from taking a few bribes so that they can cushion their pockets as opposed to waiting? So I think we need to have some resources into this so that we can have watertight scenario in these exams. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Makueni. Honorable Chair, I hear you saying point of information, but I'll give you the last opportunity because members are raising different issues on this. The Honorable Naomi Wako, Member for Marsabit County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to this very important discussion. I also want to congratulate the Chair for that very good report that he has tabled, that has made us to understand and also shown us that the ministry is prepared for the exams. Madam Speaker, in the past, our students have been affected in different ways because of a lot of cheating. And if those loopholes can be, they can just take care of that, we will be grateful. The other thing is about the distance that is covered in some areas, like where I come from. And especially now when it is raining, please put into consideration those areas that are quite difficult and a lot of distance between one school to the other and even the center that where they collect the exams from. Make sure that all students are given equal opportunities, papers collected on time, exam collected on time, and also make sure that special attention is given so that the cheating that has been there can be controlled. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Professor Jaldesa, Member for Moyale.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just want to raise a small issue. I congratulate the committee chair for reading hard names from Northern Kenya. Congratulations, at least it means you have done a bit of work. Looking at the examination, there's a lot of inequality and fairness to the students from hard-to-reach areas. Mr. Chair, if you can imagine, students who have been transported 80 kilometers away from their homes to do examination in another center away from home, and yet there is no boarding facility for them. Just because of lack of logistics. The ministry cannot afford to take the examination to where they have been schooling, and these are the people who have been in class with less than 50% of teachers' coverage. 3 teachers in class 1 to 8. They're already disadvantaged. Now you are taking them, displacing them from their homes to another place to do the examination. That we need to see how we can improve on that kind of problems next time. The other issue of examination, because the examination, if you consider, do we ever validate the test results at the marked scripts? Is there a way of validating them so that we know that the marks given for a child in alliance will be the same for the same child from Moyale? Because there is a bit of bias, I'm suspecting biasness in the teachers marking the papers. So I think we need to have a watertight validation system so that the students are assessed on equal footing. With those few remarks, I want to thank the Speaker. Thank you.
Well, honorable members, you allow me to give the last opportunity to the Honorable Dr. Kcse. I can see so many interventions. And
thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll give 2 on my left and 2 on my right. We close this, we go to the next business, honorable members. So now, Dr. Kcse, 1 minute, kindly.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the chair of the Committee on Education and members of the Education Committee who have given their input. But Madam Speaker, as our students prepare to do the exams, and more so my students from Endebess constituency, whom I wish them success in their exams, both in the Kpsea, Kcpe, and Kcse. One of the biggest challenges that I think the chair did not address is the issue of paying those who mark the exams in time, because that has always been the biggest challenge. And I think the chair needs to address that, because the morale of those markers is normally very low. The second thing which I wanted the chair to address is that, you know, when some of us did exams, we never saw issues of cheating in those early 90s. And even when we did our Kcpe in 80s, there was no cheating. I think we need to look at what went wrong that people now think cheating is the norm. I think that is something that the Education Committee needs to really look at it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Kaluma, 1 minute, please.
I thank you, Chair. Chair, the response coming from the CS is not satisfactory, and I was personally going to request, Chair, that the Cabinet Secretary be required to come to this House as a matter of urgency, if possible, by tomorrow, even exceptionally, to address these issues. Chair, the substantive Speaker, when this matter was raised the issue of administration of exams, and the idea that you have the very center managers who have set mean grades with students being in charge of exams within their centers. That has not been addressed. Chair, in terms of distribution, in my own constituency, Chair, there is no place other than the central place where they have been picking them from at the sub-county headquarters, which is actually the county headquarters. So this falsehood, Chair, or the statement that there are containers all over is misleading. Chair, the system being established here is to facilitate exam cheating. And Chair, my concern is that we behave as if this is the first time Kenya is going to do exams. Why must each CS, each regime come with their own method of doing exams? We had agreed to the system Magoha had created. Now they are changing every day, and essentially we are creating avenues through which, cheating will be pervaded in our exams. I request, Chair, that you direct that the CS comes here so that we can deal with these issues, not on these papers which are not giving us the right position. I thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kipchumba Toroitich.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very important statement. Madam Speaker, I support the statement by the CS for education. Madam Speaker, for the elaborate plan that they have put in so that we can be able to manage exams in this country. Madam Speaker, a nation that fails to plan then plans to fail. Madam Speaker, we must know that we must respect the sanctity of our certificates in this country. The moment we allow for cheating in this country, then it means that our certificates shall not have value, not only in Kenya, but the entire continent and the entire world. So, Madam Speaker, I call upon those who are managing exams, because no law can be able to stop them from opening avenues for cheating. Madam Speaker, if you look at WhatsApp and Instagram, there are a lot of papers that are going around claiming that those are the examination papers. So we have in this country the CAK, Communication Authority of Kenya. We have the DCI. What are they happening? What are they doing when papers are circulating in our social media channels? So, Madam Speaker, we want to call upon the DCI and all the investigative agencies to ensure that all the loopholes are being sealed so that we can have value for our certificates in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, the last one on this will be the Honorable Fatuma Majo, member for Wajir. in the interest of time, honorable members.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to thank the Chair for Education for the update he has given us on the examination preparedness. Chair, my question today is not about examination preparedness. Where I come from, we have not had teachers for the past few months and years. When the Chair himself has been supporting withdrawal of teachers from our area, Northeastern, the entire area. Chair, you're coming to tell us about the preparedness of the school. I wonder what our children are going to sit for. Let me finish, Chair.
Would you want to inform, Honorable?
Chair.
I would have wanted to let her finish first because you have the last opportunity. Not to defend, but just to,
Speaker,
to make comments.
Speaker, thank you for that. I just want to ask the Chair of Education, what is the essence of carrying examination papers with choppers when indeed those schools you have mentioned in Wajir North have no teachers? I just want to understand. Are we going to do exam or we are going to see the choppers? Thank you.
Chairman, I am assuming that the matter that was raised by the Honorable Mary Kcse, I can see that you are on your feet. Your matter had been addressed or it has not been addressed?
Seek clarification so that the Chair can address together as informs the House. Honorable Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, kindly, I would like to give this the last opportunity to the Honorable Mary Kcse.
Thank you.
Then we go to the Chair because we have other business in the order paper.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I just want to seek clarification from the Chair Education. I said I represent 2 sub-counties. Kcse South sub-county is nearer or closer to Kpsea town. But as I speak to you, exams have started. They have to pick exams from Amukura, which is the headquarters for Kcse Central Sub-County, which is a bit too far. So my request is, even if the container has not been transported to Kpsea for Kcse South Sub-County, can Kcse South Sub-County collect the exams from the container in Kpsea town, even if it is for Matayos Sub-County? Because you know, the integrity of the exam will be determined by the process. The validity of the exam will be determined by the process. So therefore, we must minimize any fraud, any attempts, any cheating. So let us, I am representing these people, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Member for Kcse South. I think
they have to collect the exam from Kpsea town. Thank you.
You've made your point very well. Honorable members, now I give an opportunity to the Chairman, Honorable Meli.
Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that, as rightly conversed by a member of Lego Usonga, I have no answers. I want to commend the members for what they have actually said, and it shall be transmitted to the CS. But there are certain issues that I want to put it on record, as said by, especially the issue of aligning containers. I think in my statement I read it quite well, that certain sub-counties shall be served outside their own sub-county. Just a case in point is that one of what Honorable Member for Kcse South is alluding to. That's why I read that. 2, on the issue of teachers, I want to say that, and I want to be on record, Madam Speaker, the Education Committee, and I being a former teacher, have been very fair to the teachers of Northeastern, and more specifically that region, because in 2016, in 2018, when we were Chair of Education, we introduced a continuous recruitment of teachers in that particular region of Garissa, Mandera, Wajir, and Lamu. And no other part of the country has been given preferential treatment like that particular region. So it's unfair for the Honorable Member for Wajir to allude that the Chair of Education Committee and the Education Committee is unfair to that particular region. 2, on the issues that faced the 129 teachers, Northern region has about 6,000 teachers or over, but 129 teachers had certain incidental sporadic cases of insecurity, which they needed to be listened to and be addressed. They should not be handled globally, like the whole region. Not the whole of Mandera is insecure, not the whole of Wajir is insecure, but certain areas where these teachers were crying that they had issues. And the committee, I want to thank them, they listened to them. But we did not make a resolution that those teachers, the whole teachers from North region need to move out. So, Madam Speaker, I just wanted to put that very clearly. On the issue of early exposure, I want to say this. It was in the wisdom of the committee, and I want to thank the members, that the exams be picked twice, because the second paper was the paper that was actually leaked. So that's why at the examination center, or what do you call the school, when the exams reach there, maybe through unethical people, immoral characters could open the paper early and expose it. That's why we say you pick the exam in the morning, do it by 10:30. The longest exam in Kcse is 2.5 hours. By around 10:30, it is over. Go back and pick the next one so that it is done in the afternoon without any early exposure. So that's why, as Honorable Tororija said, there is nothing sanctifying as an examination, as a certificate. But if we as a country are not going to make sure that our certificates are honored and have integrity, we shall not actually stand in the community of nations as people who have actually started. Lastly, Madam Speaker, on the issue of validation and movement, as said by a member of Wajir, I think the issue of marking, we say the examiners need to be paid well, and I agree with members. And that's why we made a proposal in this budget, and I want to ask the House, when the supplementary budget comes here, we vote 3.8 billion to NEC to pay for examiners, to pay for all those other things. And lastly, is on the issue of cheating, and not cheating, what we call validation and movement of learners. It is quite unfair to move a boy or a girl from his home to far place. I know it is happening because of lack of distances and all this, but I want members to know that it is not in the interest of the Examination Council and even this committee that students are moved for 2 or 3 days to finish exams and they come back home. So I want to say that I think that's something that we can address, and I thank you. Lastly, I want to tell the committee, the House, that the CS will be here tomorrow at 9 to address the issue of capitation in schools, among many others. So I want to ask that members be in the chamber tomorrow early enough so that actually you can be able to meet the CS to answer a number of things one-on-one. Thank you so much.
Next order.
Order number 11, Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable members, in this session, we will go through the committee of the whole House for 3 bills. I hope the movers of these bills are in the House. There's a Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022. Then there's a National Construction Authority Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 59 of 2022. And then we will resume where we left yesterday from the Kenya Drugs Authority Bill, Bill number 54 of 2022. So we'll start with the Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022. And on this particular bill, we have amendments by the chairperson of the Labour Committee, and that'll be it.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that clause 2 be part of the bill. Chairperson of the Committee on Labour.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that clause 2 be amended as it appears in the order paper. And Honorable Speaker, the justification is that this amendment seeks to ensure that each public office within the meaning of the Constitution shall be obligated to prepare a report
And Chair, this one I would like to support. My only request, Chair, is that in as much as we see compliance with these ideals by these institutions or these commissions, because they cannot just be reporting about what is happening out, not internally, this requires them to internally tell us what they are doing. Chair, let us also try to make it easy for the commissions to ensure that in their outward discharge of functions, they also comply. See what is happening with Teacher Service Commission, Chair, for instance. Where we've interfered with the independence of the commission, politicians are now distributing forms, not caring about these ideals. I therefore support this amendment, but I request, Chair, that it be implemented across and we give these commissions the free room to be independent and to exercise these ideals. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Butere.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I stand to support the amendment, although I want to caution my colleague Kaluma not to say that politicians are distributing forms for TSC. I haven't distributed any form. I think he needs to withdraw that statement. Because, he didn't say Kenya Kwanza, he said politicians.
Are you referring to Honorable Kaluma or Kaluma?
Honorable Kaluma.
Yes, that's how you call him.
Yeah. So he needs to withdraw the statement of politicians distributing forms, because that's not in order. But I stand to support the amendment, Chair.
Thank you. He didn't talk about forms of any nature. I just had forms. I don't know whether they are forms.
No. He said.
Are they birth certificate forms?
He said what is happening in TSC where politicians are distributing TSC forms.
What kind of forms? Birth certificates?
That's what I wanted him to specify or withdraw.
Honorable members, I now put the question that clause 2 be amended as proposed by the chairperson of the Labour Committee. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honourable members, I propose the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 2 as amended be part of the bill. Will as many of that opinion say aye? Will as many of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
New clause 1A.
Members, I propose the question that the new clause 1A be part of the bill. Chairperson.
Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the new clause, as it appears in the order paper, be part of the bill. Honorable Chair, this amendment seeks to introduce the definition of the term authorized officer, which is contained in the bill and is also used in other sections of the Act, but was previously not defined in the Public Service Values and Principles Act of 2015. The amendment also seeks to ensure that the public office is defined, a public office is defined as contained in the Constitution, and further to ensure that every public office shall be mandated to prepare a report on the status of the promotion of values and principles of public service. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I propose the question that the new clause 1A be part of the bill. Honorable Dawood.
Honorable Chair, I support the amendment by the Chair of the committee, and I request others to support as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I put the question that the new clause 1A be amended as proposed by the Honorable Chair of the Labour Committee. Will as one of that opinion say aye? Will as one of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it. I now put the question that new clause 1A be part of the bill. I now put the question that the new clause 1A be part of the bill. Will as one of that opinion say aye? Will as one of that opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Title.
I propose the question of the title of the bill. The Honorable Dawood, you want to speak on this? I now put the question that the title be title of the bill. Will have no opinion say aye? Will have no opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Clause 1.
I propose the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. I put the question that clause 1 be part of the bill. Will have another opinion say aye? Will have another opinion say nay? The ayes have it. You can move from wherever you are. Do you have the notes for moving? Mover.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Honorable Chairperson, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022, up to and its approval thereof with amendments, and seek leave to sit again. Thank you.
Where did you find seek leave to sit again? Just move for it. Stop with amendments.
Okay. Honorable Chair, I beg to move that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022, up to clause 2, and its approval thereof with amendments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. I now put the question, which is that the committee do report to the House its consideration of the Public Service Values and Principles Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 46 of 2022 and its approval thereof with amendments. Will as many other opinion say aye? Will as many other opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Members, we'll move now next to the bill on the National Construction Authority. It's Amendment Bill number 59 of 2022.
Clause 2.
I propose the question that Clause 2 be part of the bill. Chairperson of the Housing Urban. The Honorable Gikaria, what's out of order? Go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This amendment on the National Construction Authority was my amendment, but I'm told it has to be moved by the chair of the committee who is not in today. Maybe, Chair, I need some guidance on how we progress from here. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Response. What is the problem? The chair wanted to move deletion of all this, meaning killing the bill. But now he's not there. So what do we do? No, it's for you to guide, not anybody. I think what happens when member moves amendment.